brothers.
So I was traveling and there was this earthquake.
Yeah.
So tell me,
Well-
what was this this Texas earthquake?
There was a bambulance.
What was this Texas earthquake? It happened in
Pleasanton.
Pleasant Town.
Yeah.
Which is like 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Due south.
So both of you guys were in the earthquake circle.
Yep.
So for us, we have that chandelier that was used to hang on the above our bed. Got into bed and I saw one of the jewels was like moving just ever so slightly, and I was like, why in the fuck's that moving? You know?
Johnny Ray's in his Papa San chair swinging back and forth.
And not less than 60 seconds later, that thing came off the wall and landed on both of us, me and Mrs. Johnny Ray. And I had my earbuds in, and I heard her scream, and I was just like, took off, you know. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Well, this was on the 19th.
And
Today's the 24th. So 6 days ago?
yeah, that's it.
5-6 days ago?
Yeah. That's what it was.
That was it, dude.
No shit.
It was a 3.9 earthquake in
Me and mine
Pleasant Town.
slept right through it.
You were on the fringes of
I must say that we were very fortunate because that chandelier has a lot of, you know, it's kind of ornate. It's got
Pointy,
these pointy
spiky.
metal things.
There were 2 earthquakes.
Oh, really?
They always come in pairs.
It was a 3.8, 4 kilometers down, 4.5 kilometers down. And it made your chandelier fall off and almost kill your spouse.
Dude,
Craziness.
freaked the hell out of both of us.
But, you know, Mrs. Duane and I, we were talking about that earthquake, and both of us were like, that's not an earthquake.
So
My wife having, you know, grown up some in California, and me having spent some time in Japan in the military. I know I was in 2 in Japan. They were 7 to 8 on the Richter scale earthquakes, huge ones. One time, here's my favoriteest earthquake story. I was on the 2nd floor of my barracks. Got the window open. It's a beautiful day.
he's sodomizing a private.
I have my guitar. The window's open. I'm standing in the window. I got my guitar in my hand, and
His dick in
my
the other.
amp is cranked up, and I'm playing some chords and stuff, and some people are out walking across the quad, the parade deck in the back of the building, and I just hit this A chord. It's like ka-chong, and all of a sudden I just see the shockwave move across, you know, and it was just the freakiest thing I've ever seen, the actual visual shockwave. And then feeling the shake and the rumble and watching the people all there on the ground, just kind of like, you know, you drop
Yeah.
to your knees and to steady yourself, right?
Right.
And I just look at my guitar and I go, damn. And I think that was like a
Shazam!
that was around an 8. And then there was another time,
And what had
like
happened
4 in the a.m. I'm laying in bed, and an earthquake hit, and it literally threw me out of the bed. I'm on the floor, just trying to hold on.
he threw himself at the ground and missed.
And so, yeah, that's 2 really, really large ones in Japan back in the 87, 88 time frame. So Google Japan earthquakes south of Tokyo, Yokosuka, Yokohama, that area.
Yeah.
87, 88.
I got that when I got there in Japan in what was that? 2005, I think it was. Yeah, 2005. I got there, and I'd been at Camp Zama for maybe like a month. I was in the barracks, and got home, and I took the top off and had it hanging on the door.
Sexy.
Yeah, and had it hanging on the door, and I laid down on the bed, and I was just kind of sitting on my side, laying on my side, watching TV, and the door's right there, and it's open, and it felt like somebody come up into the footbed, the footboard and just moving the bed back and forth and it was slow, and I saw the door moving.
Boom, chicka, bow, pow.
I'm trying to be serious, and
Oh, I'm
he's
sorry. I'm sorry. I just
But
hear the
anyways,
bed's moving.
the bed's banging back and forth, and then the chair and the shirt's doing this thing, and I'm like, what in the fuck is happening? That was the first time in my life I've ever experienced anything like that.
I
And it
was in Virginia when that 3.6.
Did she know it?
Yes. And
when that 3 what inch?
Centimeter.
right in the keister, and that it caused the nuke to scram. The Northern Virginia nuke
Oh, really?
went offline, and it was just a little bit of what the hell just happened. Because it's just subtle enough for you to feel it, but it didn't last long enough. So now everybody's right. God dang it! I
can't help it, man.
I got half a paddle in the water. I'm just sucked today.
I think, and then the other time there in Japan, I was so we had the PX and we had the furniture, the P Extras, which was the furniture store shit. And so I walked in there, and it was this, and Camp Zama was like, that was like the Japanese military equal of West Point. That's what it was. And so some of those buildings are super fucking old. And anyways, shut up. Anyways, I walk in the building, and it was like imagine being in the building, and it dropped. The whole building dropped like 6 inches, and the shelves and everything. It was like this big wave. The lamps, they had these lamps on display that were on the shelves, on the top fucking shelf. And I saw every lamp. It went over to a 45, back to a 45, and it all came back. And of course, everybody's like fucking yelling and shit. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it was loud. It was loud,
man.
It was loud, but it was cool.
You know what you hear is all this. Ah! You look around, all these army dudes.
Here we go. We got to. Here's a little dig. Here's a little dig.
He ain't lying. He ain't lying. We're screaming like a little bitch. There's an earthquake.
I'll give you that one,
It's
man.
an earthquake. It's earthquaking.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I mean, where I was at, all the Marines were like,
No, they weren't. On each other.
I don't know. One night I'm asleep and I didn't see anybody. Next thing I know, I'm
there's
awake.
a bunch of them. Yeah, they're making little Marines.
Little seaman.
It happens.
Yeah, they're repopulating a submarine.
But I mean, you almost got killed by a little 3.8.
I know. That's crazy.
Thing fall out of the sky onto you and the
Dude,
missus.
she got cut up and banged up on the hand and knocked in the head, and I'm like, oh, I hope you got some concealer for that.
And then the thing fell off then the chandelier
And then
fell.
the chandelier fell down.
It's like what happened? It's like what happened to Mrs. Johnny Ray right here. It's like she'll never ever talk back again. I'll tell you right now.
Bullshit.
No, I'm sorry, babe. I did not.
You buying that? I'm not buying that.
That's what she told him.
This is what you say.
That's how you say it.
She knows. God damn it, Johnny Ray.
Mine's like, and I'll shoot you again.
Well,
I don't know.
earthquakes in Texas. That's
You know they're going to blame it on all the fracking that's been going on in the Eagleford back in the day.
I-35.
fracking.
Yeah, I-35 sits on the Balcones Fault. Always has. The Balcones Fault is what made Interspace Caverns and all those fancy little.
Right.
And that's what do you think's going to happen? And I think
eventually things are going to move.
well, fracking causes sinkholes, so I don't know what.
I haven't seen any sinkholes.
Now, do you know what fracking is?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Tell me, what, y'all explain to me what fracking is, because I know. I worked in the industry a long time. I know exactly what fracking is.
Anyway,
I'm waiting.
So this is so fracking. So when they're, it's been a while. So they want the well to produce more. They'll take and pump salt water down, and then they let loose a charge, which what it does is it fractures that cavity inside and opens it up so more of the desired product comes out.
That's close.
It's a chemical process that forces all the God dang it, all the oils and petrochemical. Well, it's not necessarily always oil. It could be
Because fracking is
natural gas.
you're fracturing the
And it
cavity.
pushes it up. Okay, correct.
I'm just listening.
Well, tell us what now.
In the petroleum industry, fracturing is a process which they're very close to. Is you create high pressure using fluid into the formation, wherever the formation is.
Right.
It is a specific formation. They don't just fracture this whole strand of hole that they've made in the ground. They isolate it to a specific area that they want to target, or that they know that the oil should be or is be located. Now, oil is not a free-flowing river underground, okay? It's not like a big cavern of water and oil and gas in the ground. No, it's actually contained in rock in the ground. Some of this rock is really hard, solid rock. Some of it's not so hard, solid rock. But, you know, the areas where this rock is just really hard, they isolate it, okay, mechanically isolate this area, and they force a lot of pressure into this one area, okay? Thousands and thousands, tens and 20s, thousands of pounds of pressure. And what it does is it causes the formation to create fissures along it. Now, these are small fissures, okay, throughout this whole formation. And what they do is they then go down and they pump while it is under pressure. They'll follow it up with sand particles, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the sand particles get into these little fissures
To hold it.
and hold them open
Right.
throughout the whole formation. And then they let off the pressure, and the formation collapses back on itself, except for where little sand particles are, allowing, you know, this
leach out.
amount to where you have more capabilities for oil and gas and water,
Yeah.
and you know, the liquids just to easily move. They go from a high pressure area, because out here in the formation there's a lot of pressure from the earth pressing down on it, right? And so the hole that they have drilled becomes a low pressure spot, right? And as you know, like a pumping unit or some way that they extract the fluid out of, the fluid and the gas creates a low pressure, so that all the high pressure slowly goes in towards it. And so there's no big giant holes in the ground. There's no big caverns. It's just small hairline fractures throughout the formation, which could be 100 feet or 1,000 feet worth of formation, to where all of these little fractures are. And it's not an incredibly significant amount of fracturing that causes any type of ground disturbance later on, because the formation, you know, it sets back on itself. So this is not causing sinkholes. This is not causing earthquakes. This is not causing any issues with groundwater, because there is no water in this. Water flows above and below these formations, because water can't flow through these tight formations where the oil and the gas are. So there's your lesson.
There you go.
I
I forgot about the sand part. Yes.
I regret bringing that up.
I brought it up. I said it's fracking
Right.
is causing the earthquake.
Fra-
I was being
fra-
facetious, but
Why has that always been a campaign thing? You know what?
because it could be.
Yeah, well, I know that.
People
'cause
that
it-
don't know what it is, oh my God, they're fracturing the earth.
Yeah, it's fracking. And no, it's fine. It's an engineered
It's not
process.
as dangerous as transgendering.
Not as destructive either.
True.
Yeah. So the only sinkhole stuff that I'm aware of is when Dad was selling pipe to the industry. these salt domes would get evacuated, and they did. And I guess it was a negligence on the driller part. They didn't pump the mud or the chemical or whatever in there, and the dome collapsed, which had a second and third order effect. So
Here's the problem. I bet he was dealing with a lot of independent oil companies,
probably
small oil companies. They're trying to cut corners to make more money. So what they're not doing is, these formations are known from the top of the dirt all the way down.
Yeah, they've got how many geophysical guys do they have?
They core this stuff, and they see exactly what the zones are at whatever depth, and they know where these salt domes are. And what they do normally in the big boys, you drill a big hole, right, and then you cement thousands of feet
the casing
of pipe,
yeah,
so that you isolate off those zones. Right?
Right.
And you put mechanical devices in place that isolate it off, right? And you're pumping the cement down, and it makes a big, solid, hard tube of rock and steel.
That's what she said.
And then that's where you put your pipe down through that. But it isolates any contamination.
It's just dirty talk out of this one.
It isolates any possibility of contaminating any surface water along surface area where water and things like that are occurring, and the area below where you're producing from. There's an isolation. But unfortunately, you've got, bad players in the industry that cut corners and do things of that nature, and it smites the whole industry.
Yep.
But that can happen.
Well, hopefully they'll start back up. All the
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill. Why are we not? I just don't understand that.
It's a political play.
Yeah, well,
it's all politics.
It's all money. It's all greed. And you're pay to play.
Well, the problem is that most Americans think the petroleum industry is a terrible, 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 terrible thing. But what they don't understand is that most oil companies are in the business of providing energy.
Yeah.
Energy can be anything. There's wind energy. There's natural gas energy. There's solar energy. The company that I worked for, one of our leases, we had windmills all over it. We leased out our surface rights to the windmill people so they could come put windmills in. Another time, we were farming out a section of our surface area and prepping it for a solar farm. So the energy companies are not necessarily all about petroleum. They're about producing power, whatever that power looks like, and making money, of course, because this is wonderfully capital America. Anyway, I digress.
Right. Well,
earthquakes.
I think
on that
yeah.
on that same topic, if they decide they don't want to do petroleum, you can't have things like this.
Correct, and that's
There's
the thing.
Nothing in this room.
That's the thing about you can't manufacture things if you don't have petroleum.
Yeah, what are you going to put on your cars so that you can drive on them and they spin around on the ground? And
It's
get
called
you from point A to point B?
the bearings. You're going to have all these things.
Well, your tires.
Tires, exactly.
Seats,
The
steering
asphalt,
Everything
the
you
road,
look at.
everything in the road is
the
petroleum.
condoms he's supposed to be using.
Yeah.
I don't use condoms.
He does. I watched him. He
I
had
had
one
this-
on
I
each
had this-
finger.
Snip, snip.
Yeah,
Just
horrible.
keep driving on.
Horrible. That was an earthquake, man. Yeah.
All right. So
This episode goes. This episode goes to Duane.
vasectomy.
No, fuck no.
What about me?
Vasectomy? Is that what we're talking about? No,
He's got. He had the chop.
I've had it.
Not me.
Good for
Nope. Nope. That's one sneeze away from losing your ding ding.
There's a title.
Reed Brothers.